Not only is that destructive for our well-being and the individual white people who obey those instructions, but every step after that takes us further and further away from white well-being, further and further away from your well-being as a white person, your children's well-being as white children, our collective well-being. So let's see, as a consequence of that antecedent focus being on Black people rather than on white people, let's see what the consequence is like for a couple of entertainers here on YouTube. Let me know if the audio is okay.
What's up, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. You're seeing kind of the rise of a new definition for an old term. There used to be a term called, there is a term called Black fatigue, which used to mean the general tiredness from, I don't know, all sorts of whatever, the pressures of just being Black, apparently. I'd never heard that term, but obviously I'm not in that community, so maybe it was more prevalently used there. I don't know. But there is a new term, there is a new definition that is taken over that is, quite frankly, gaining a lot of momentum, and it's concerning because I don't like where this is heading. I don't think this is going to end well for anybody. But the new definition of Black fatigue is, in general, a general malaise or tiredness of folks seeing, videos or experiencing crime at the hands of this community. Now, obviously, all communities, participate in stupid crime against each other. But right now, I think algorithmically on places like X, perhaps even in a PSYOP, it all started with Carmelo Anthony. And the Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf case was kind of the last, the big domino or the smaller domino that unleashed a larger domino of Shiloh raising nearly $1 million for,
I don't know if this guy actually thinks, he's not hugely bright. I don't know if he actually thinks that Carmelo Anthony is a PSYOP, and then what happened with Shiloh Hendricks is a PSYOP. He used that word, but
having an excited utterance of a particular word at a kid who was stealing from her. And this story went viral over the weekend. I thought I would cover it because it's extremely frustrating that, I want this to get cleaned up before it gets out of control, before other, we said biker gangs driving around and handling business. I don't want to get.
Okay, so let me jump in right there real quick. I don't know why this notion persists that there are white biker gangs that are going to go out and commit racial violence. These gangs, these white biker gangs, I just played for you the testimony at Congress where the feds were saying in Congress that 99+% of the gangs are non-white. So we just played that testimony before Congress. Check it out for yourself. Make sure I'm right. This notion that there are white biker gangs comes from entertainment media. Without question, there have been, especially after World War II, veterans came back, they had PTSD, they didn't know what that was. They used their meager income to buy cheap motorcycles that were made by Harley Davidson, and they got into bike clubs. And yes, there were some of those clubs that got into criminality, and just as that's always the case. But where do we interact with these biker gangs? Mostly, where is our interaction? Where do we know them from? Entertainment media. The great evil white biker gang shows up and they victimize innocent non-white people all the time. There are no hordes of white biker gangs that are going to go out and commit racial violence. This is preposterous. I never see a group of bikers going down the road that's not multiracial. And in many of these cases, and they've got like skulls on their jackets, and in many of these cases, there is a black guy with a white woman in the biker gang. So this is a preposterous notion right out of the anti-white narrative.
To that level. Here is two Indiana boys, quote, make up after one of the boys got jumped in a park in Madison, Indiana. By the way, these are like 8 and 10-year-old kids.
Okay, I showed the still from this. Apparently, that little boy that was jumped by a bunch of black boys and bloodied up severely. Apparently, his name is Jason, and his mother is single. Another single white mother. And anyhow, wait till you hear what the white people did.
Why are they participating in this type of behavior? I have never seen ever this type of, activity in parks or even at schools. I mean, I've seen fights before, but not like this, which I'm going to show you. After the beating rocked the community, local leaders, including a group of bikers, held a meetup to support the victim, Jason. Obviously, I think you could probably put it together. The victim is a
bikers. In other words, the ride club that I guarantee is multiracial.
Little white boy, and who was jumped by.
Another thing I really despise about this guy is he never says black boy, but he calls Austin Metcalf a white boy. He calls them the Metcalf boys or the Metcalf boy. He never calls Carmelo a boy. Let's see if he calls the black children that jumped Jason. Let's see if he calls them black boys.
By several non-white boys.
Oh, he said non-white boys.
The mother of the boys said he was
black
at the
boys.
park when he was jumped. She says there's been a history of issues with these boys in the community. These kids are so disrespectful. They throw trash over my fence into my yard, throw rocks at my dogs. Last year, they were using those Orbeez, which I think those are like those little white BBs or water-filled BBs. They would fire them at their dogs. Anytime I would confront them and ask for a parent, it's threats of their parents. They say their parents have weapons and that you don't want to meet them. The other boy's father, Desi May, said in a post shared by Kevin Hambly Sr. on Facebook, there seems to be no accountability for these young ones or anyone able to track down their parents. Here's a small clip of it. I'm not going to show the aftermath because it's probably I don't want to humiliate this kid. But you can see there's some sort of...
I'm not going to play any of that because I'm sure he can play it. He's just showing how they surround, and then this one in the black is the one who comes up from behind and hits Jason in the temple, forehead, side of his face, and opens up his head, and he bleeds like there's no tomorrow. And then this is where they're stomping him on the ground. I'm not showing any of that. This is Jeremy Hambly's clip. So you got to take his clip down and strike him.
Now here, so then they share, then the community gets together and they're like, oh, look, they made up. Well, they in fact did not make up. And
so the community, the bikers, they got together and they bought the black kids, or at least one of them, a bunch of stuff to get them to come together and get a photo with their arms around each other, and everything is fine. They've made up. Everything is fine now. But the mother of Jason is saying it's not fine. These people are a regular problem in the community and threatening, and she's got no husband to stand in the gap for the children.
Roving gang of youths is still terrorizing the community and this kid too. So there's this post here from Kevin Hambly Sr. It's starting to sink in what we accomplished last Sunday, which has never been done before. As a business owner, I was nervous about making calls, knowing that if things went south, I would lose everything. It was worrisome situation. Some people were advising me against it, while others were sending me texting. We needed to pull the community together as one. I was concerned that this was a gray area, but after discussing it with many people, they were ready to move forward. So I started making phone calls with the individuals. I knew that would be the right thing. So this guy, I can't really tell who he is, Kevin Hambly Sr.
That's the guy
for a photo op.
That's the guy who got everybody together.
Yolanda. Sometimes we have to sit at tables. We aren't wanted and wanted. What? Not wanted and wanted. In the beginning, this was just a kid, but after several meetings and the calls, the narrative changed, and the adults knew it had to be about the boys and any other blah, 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 God this, God that. No, this is all fake, right? Kid got jumped. a group of kids decided to threaten and throw.
It's not fake in the sense that it didn't happen. The community did this guy, they brought them together.
Throw things at our dog, then proceed to jump my son as he tried to walk away, which is all on video. He had to get stitches. Truly, I'm angry. These kids are so incredibly disrespectful. They throw trash over my fence. I'm thankful Jason's okay, and I'm praying hard. And ultimately, why is this muted? Oh, okay. Maybe they're a clickbait account. I'm not sure. This was a fake ending. They did not. In fact, you can see we found her mother, and Dylan Dennis has been talking with her. Terrible story. This says, I'm taking pictures. He knows now to take pictures of these kids so we can try to be aware of where their parents are aware. The two boys are facing charges. Good, by the way. And by the way, stop letting this crap off the hook. Those boys should get charges. They attacked him. They jumped him. There's a crime for that. The other little boy seemed to be defending himself, although he never even touched the other kids. So Dylan Dennis comes around. I'm unfamiliar with him. He's a fighter, I think. Saying, I promise I'm going to get support for Jason, get him into a gym so he knows how to fight. We also can work on helping you out fight.
Get ready for, and I'm not saying this guy's doing it, but whenever there is a single mothers out there, be warned. You probably know to some degree that guys will show up to get some ass by feigning interest in the children, to protect the children. And so I would not doubt that that's going to happen with this mother as well. What a disgusting scenario to find yourself in. And to whatever degree that she's responsible for being single, who knows? The other big threat is that something like this, there's all this attention. And this woman, she doesn't know the guy's reaching out to say, oh, I want to help. I want to teach the kid how to fight, or I want to. And again, I'm not saying that guy or the other guy that bought gifts for the black attackers and got everybody together for a photograph as a consequence. Really just disgusting. But be aware, ladies, that the guys showing up here might be pedophiles. A mother who has to work for a living, has 4 children that the guy could then have access to. If he comes in as the great defender, he's going to help her take care of these children. Be very wary of that.
Financially, a lot of people online have your back. Let me handle a few things. We'll fix this. This woman just wants to move out of this community. It's been so overwhelmed with all this. Plus, with my place of employment, I have to be careful. This is the mom. I want my son to get support and connection with men who have good character and values. I'm doing my best as a single mom before. Yikes. His mother is a POS. His father's a POS. Well, that's what she says. And has drugged Dre through so much. He has disappeared again. Jason is still dealing with bullies. And I can't get any backup when these incidents occur. I'm taking pictures, and he knows now to take pictures of these kids so we can try and be aware of them. The 2 boys, by the way, are facing charges thanks to the awareness spread by this. She goes on to say that it, in fact, has not gotten better.
No shit.
By the way, no charges, no suspension, not even a slap on the wrist, just a shiny award they gave these kids because, I don't know, people try to do the right thing.
See, that's the biker gang. You got this fat white guy. I guarantee you, in his biker gang, there's a black guy with a white woman. It's universal at this point. They're like the hardcore white guys, just like la, la, on their Harleys, and they got all this leather on. They got them big old boots on. They're like, yeah, I'm tough. And then you're like, oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that, cuck.
Try to do the right thing, but,
Look at his head.
And yet the parents made him humiliate himself and forgive his attackers. Yeah. People are tired of this, People are tired of headlines like this. Oops, it looks like the New York Post deleted it. Why do you think the New York Post deleted this? Well, because Swifty college co-ed lost her life as she slept due to career criminal who broke in this picture. This, why does that matter? This guy really gave him free some protection.
Another story. We got to keep it moving along.
Crimes. But I would like to see all these videos of a bunch of white kids ganging up on some black kid in a park. Because if you believe the rhetoric,
this is the conservative stupidity. This is the conservative. If the anti-whites could find one video of 2 or more white guys fighting a non-white guy, that's it. Your position is defeated. Why? Because everybody has witnessed that happening thousands of times in entertainment. They wouldn't even need an actual instance, but they absolutely could find it.
Then there should be thousands of those videos because I see a new video every day of groups of young, unaccompanied youths committing, aggressive acts, taking
Now, black boys.
people's lives, stabbing people, roaming the streets. I mean, show me the other groups of these, people that are doing the same.
Where's the focus on what he's talking about? This whole video, focus has been on blacks. And then since he's more of a cuck, he softens it by saying, well, everybody, though, behaves like this, but they seem to behave like this a little bit more.
I agree they are, but how come? Maybe it's just that in that community, they film it, and that's why we see so much video from it.
They're natural movie producers there, Jeremy.
I'm gonna show you a godsend right here, Mr. Humble. You let these two boys
got a new bicycle. They got new bicycles. They get into a fight. The blacks jump the white child and stomp and beat him into the ground. Stitches across his forehead. Blood spills everywhere. He's screaming in pain and fear. And to fix this, everybody gets a new bicycle. This is what the white race does. Sickening. And look at this guy over here, the real tough white guy. He's got his goatee on, too.
Again, this community probably tried to do the right thing, right? They want to try to bring these kids together. They don't want it to be a race thing. I understand why they did what they did, but
typical cucks. They don't want it to be. It's a race thing, but they're gonna not see it.
They still make Jason as the victim, and he basically had to humiliate himself. And for
Slot says rewarding anti-whiteism, 100%.
Give the other kids when he was 100% in the right. This other kid should not be getting a free bike. He should be getting a free ride to jail or juvie, right? But because people are into self-flagellating themselves, the articles like this from the New York Post will...
Self-flagellating means flagellating themselves, Jeremy.
Continue to get posted. No graduation pic. Just run-of-the-mill criminal again. Or students or whatever. People are getting sick of it. We cannot address an issue if we cannot
So the issue, the focus, blacks.
Accurately describe what that issue is. I don't know how to fix it, but I'm done.
But he's there to give you his opinion.
Pretending like it's just some kids just some kids roughhousing, because it sure seems like there's generally, a lot of inside that community, they're doing this to each other every day. But it seems like a lot of people in other communities have to keep paying the price because they don't want to keep these people in jail. They don't want to say, they don't want to be called.
Again, you all are privy to the Go Free Dialogic, and you see the massive errors that he and all other cucks make, and Spurgs, anti-non-white Spurgs, the massive error that they make.
Racist, I don't know. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, hey, keep the criminals in jail. And these other kids that attacked this kid, they should go to jail too. By the way, if a white guy had broken into this Swifty's house and had the same rap sheet, I think the same thing should happen. If the race is reversed in the park, I think that the white kids should be charged. Problem is, it just isn't happening, is it? Very frustrating to see.
The problem is that not that it's not happening, dumb. How does this guy have millions of followers? For the love of God. It's not the peanut gallery, it's the vegetable gallery.
And it's also,
all right.